Dare you venture into the dark labyrinth, risking life and limb, all for the lure of the power of the elemental stones? Well, dare you? Hello and welcome to the Friday Fantasy Show from the Bottled Imp, exploring the realms of fantasy. My name is Ken Boyter, and today we are looking at Centershaft Fallen Element. Yes, this is a 2 to 4 player. It's a dungeon crawl game from Not In My Eyes Games. We all like a bit of looting and plunging and labyrinthing, don't we? Well, let's find out. Before we go any further, the actual company is called Not My Eyeball Games, and they kindly sent me this game. It's part of the Game Crafter thing. Now, I didn't really know about the Game Crafter. Apparently it's self-publishing, so if you're an author you can self-publish. It's a similar thing. You've got an idea for a game, you want to test it out. It's kind of like where you create a prototype. So yeah, I'm all for new games. I'm all for, people creating and doing their thing and, wanting to get it out there. So they very kindly sent me this, so I'm going to be looking at it, reviewing it just like normal. So this is a first for the Bottled Imp to look at a Game Crafter game, and they are hoping to put it onto Kickstarter and then obviously make it, have the full published version. So what I will say is I'm not 100% sure whether this is the final artwork or not. Now, I do know with the rule book, they did put a few stickies in, as you can see here, just to explain the rules a bit further. So I'm pretty sure that obviously this isn't going to be the final rule book. But what I don't know is what is final and what isn't. So let's find out. I said I'd review it on this basis. So let's crack on. So what do we get in the box? Well, you get a nice amount of components. You get these tiles, these dungeon tiles, or the labyrinth tiles, and you also get little treasure chest tokens that you put onto the dungeon, as you can see here. You also get these gems, and that is the aim of the game. All of us are trying to get these elemental stones, or gems, or crystals. I guess they call them elemental stones. You also get your character cards, and there's 4 of those. It's 2 to 4 player. And you also get a D12 dice. It's always nice to see, an uncommon dice number in a board game, because obviously role-playing games use a D20 and they use all different types of many-sided dice. Board games tend to do a D6, don't they? You also get these quick reference cards. So, for example, this is what happens if you land in a chest. And you go for, trying to loot the chest. And you got the elemental powers. I'll go into all the details in a bit, but each of the crystals actually also has an ability as well. And also, this is the time warp. If you want to teleport, you need to roll a specific number to then teleport back to the center space. But we'll go into the rules in a second. You also get your little matching player token to tell you where you are and what you do, and then you also get the deck of cards. And these are I've called them the dungeon cards. I don't think they're named actually. It's a bit strange, but I might be wrong on that, but I'm going to call them the dungeon cards. And you also get a tile which has got R and L, because there's a bit of reversing on the turn order. So this is quite handy to, when you reverse something, you can say yes, it's going in the left hand or it's going the right hand way. I think that's all the components. Oh, and then there's a death component. If you die, you do become death and you hunt the other players down, which is obviously sounds lots of fun. So what you do for the setup, you will take your corresponding, you'll choose first of all, which characters you want to be. You will then take your corresponding player piece and you will put them onto the center tile. Now I'll just show you the center tile. It looks like that. It's unique. It's only one of those. And what you do is you will each take it in turns to take one of these tiles. Now I've set this up quickly for the purposes of this review, but ordinarily these are in a big stack. And there are different sort of icons on them. This one is a trap. You can see here it's got a hole in it. What you do is you'll have them in a stack, you will shuffle them, and then you will each draw one of the tiles to then add to the center tile. But obviously you don't have to. Once one person has laid a tile down, they can connect it to that one. It must make sense. You can't kind of block somebody off if it doesn't go. So for example, you couldn't put where it's got a doorway into nothing. Can't do that. It has to make sense. And there, as I say, there are various different tiles on here. Like this one here is a monster one. And then also what you do have, once you've laid them all out, once they've all run out, you will then, well, what I should have said is you take these cards out separately. So you've got these elemental stone rooms, and as you can see, they correspond to the colour of the gems of the stones. So you've got the green one, and then you've got the purple one, and obviously you've got the red one. And they represent different elements: fire, wind, earth, all of that. And then you have these ones, which are the teleport rooms or the warp rooms. And each of them has a different number, 1 to 4. And so what you do is you will deal these out randomly, face down, to each player before you do the tiles. And these are the last ones you put out. So you will put an elemental room first. So when you get down to all the tiles have been laid, then you will then decide where to put them. So you might put one, it has to make sense. So I would have to put, so let's say I put it here. And then, another player, the purple player, will put it wherever it would match. So they could put it here. And, each of the rooms gets put out. Then what you'll do is obviously you'll be putting out your teleport room as well. So you might just want to put it here. That makes sense. And there's no reason why it couldn't be close by. That's just a player preference. And then that one might go over here. And then you've got the board set up. So that could go here, I guess. So there you go. So obviously remember, these would be in play as well, but I'm not going to put them out just yet. So that is the basic setup. Then what you do is, it's player turn. So the first player, it's very simple. You'll be shuffling these. These are as I say, the dungeon cards. You'll shuffle them, and then you will simply be drawing a card first. So you will draw a card and then do what it says on the card. Now you can keep some of these cards. You don't have to play it straight away, or you can play it straight away. If one of them says miss a turn, then that is the end of your go. You've kind of had to miss your turn. But if you've kind of survived, you then roll the dice, and you simply then move that number of dice. Roll. So I got 11, so I might move 11, and they're nicely drawn here. The little paving slabs are one space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh look, I've landed on the chest. So you then encounter the chest, and then what you do here is you will then roll to see what actually, oh no, not that one, sorry. You will roll to see what happens when you get the chest. You might lose a health. You might also gain extra roll, another roll movement. You may teleport somewhere, or you can gain your full health, because each of you starts off with 3 health, and it's denoted by these little kind of dials. And each of you starts off with 3. If you lose a health, you obviously simply turn it down to 2. If you lose all of your health, you then become death. And what you do is you will then start in the center place, and then you will start to hunt down each player, and then you can steal a gem off them, or make them lose a health. So that's quite fun. Then that is pretty much the aim, how it plays. The aim of the game, I should have said that at the beginning, sorry about that, is that you are all trying to collect these elemental stones. So, as you can see, these will be out on their corresponding ones. And where else did I put the other one? I think I only put one out. Oh, there it is. There it is. Red's over here. So you will obviously, these will be out as well, and you will then be going around collecting them. So you need to go into the room, so you go all the way through, and then you'll get to it and you'll collect it, and then you will place it on your corresponding character onto the corresponding one. So if I was this character, I'd put it here. And what that means is you will also gain that special ability. So for example, it's got here a quick reference. This one, if it's your colour, so for example, if I was red and I collected the red elemental stone, then I can do that special ability if I just happen to be in the same room as somebody, so I don't have to be right next to them. And in that case, that one is they lose 1 health. If, however, I was purple but I had the red gem, then I would have to be right next to them, the space next to them, in order for that special effect to take effect. That is kind of the game, because once you get all the 4 gems, you will then try to get back to the center space as quickly as possible. Now that might mean that you go to a warp or a teleport square, and then you'll have to roll on here. Now that's number 3, so I would have to roll a 7 or 9 on the dice in order to just shift right back here and win the game. And as I say, that's pretty much it. There are a few things here as well. So for example, you've got the arrow trap here, that if somebody triggers it on a different tile, you will then trigger the arrow. And that is basically it. You'll be going around the labyrinth, you'll be triggering traps, you'll be playing cards. So for example, let's have a look at a few of these cards. This one says move any 1 tile and place anywhere on the board, excluding the center hub. So that's that one. So you could just pick up a tile and place it anywhere. Obviously it's still got to fit in, it's still got to match the pattern. And of course you can start messing with people with these cards, and that's what a lot of these cards here. This one here says roll 8 or higher, teleport yourself, roll under 8, you lose a turn. So, you know, there's some benefits to you, there's some benefits to other people maybe, or there's some negative things that happen to you and there's negative things that happen to other people. This one is an extra turn for movement. Rollment, that's a good word, isn't it? This one adds double to your roll. You can use it straight away or you can save it for another turn. And there are other things that you play on other characters. So for example, this one here says damage -1. There are other things, thief any 1 card from an opponent. So a lot of these are geared up to affecting other players. So that's what you're trying to do. It's a race to get all of the gems and then get back to the center square, probably screwing over your opponents. And that is how you play it. So what did I think? Well, I did say I was going to be honest. My first issue with it is the overall kind of quality. Now I do know it's Gamecraft, I don't know too much about that. This is the first time I've seen one of those games. Now I'm thinking this is just a prototype, because otherwise, unfortunately, the artwork for me in the rule book is just shocking. I hate to say it because I really want people to succeed when they do their games. But this, for example, is really difficult to read because although they've got white text, they've put a little drop shadow on it to make it easier to read. But the background is too busy. You know, I used to do graphic design, you know, as a job. I know what I'm talking about with this. So it's very difficult. I mean, that isn't particularly attractive to look at. I know it's only the back page of the rulebook, but you know, all these things add up. You know, this was very difficult to read. Yellow onto a busy, you know, background. Really difficult to and this is all blurry. The cover's blurry. That's just not good enough, is it? Some of the words are sort of cut off. They're really close, not cut off as well. Yeah, they are. Look, if you look at the top here where it says dimensional shift, the name of the card, the letters are cut off. So that's just poor typesetting. And you shouldn't really judge a book by its cover, so they say, but it all adds up. It gives you that overall impression. If you're opening up this for the first time, you know, you're going to be slightly disappointed. Or if you're going to look at the cover, so let's have a quick look at the cover as I disappear out of shot. You know, it's blurry. Why have they split the title like that? Initially I thought that was the name of the company, so I was a little bit confused by that. It's not a particularly attractive cover. I'm not drawn to it. It's slightly blurry. And again, I'm putting this down to the fact that this is a Gamecraft game. So, because I'm not fully understanding what that is this meant to be a high quality demo, you know, prototype game, you know, version? I'm not sure. As I said, they are taking it to Kickstarter. There are a few things that... let me get onto the rule book. The rule book, and again, I hate to say this, was hideous. There were typos in it. There was just difficult to read, as I say, on the back. That some of it was it wasn't very clear. We had to kind of guess some of the rules. We actually put in a few house rules to make it easier, and we found playing it, we didn't know how it was going to end. You know, we were meant to get all the gems, but what happened was we all got a gem each, and then we spent ages trying to get the gem. It doesn't say how you get gems off other people, so we just said, well, if you go back to that room, you then get the gem off that person. That seemed about the only way, because you're meant to collect all of them. So again, that we struggled with that. There wasn't a full explanation on that. There was, you know, they've kind of done it back to front. They put the general rules right at the back of the booklet. There's one page, very sparse. But then they've got all these, which is great, all these other pages that are explaining the cards, which is fine. But that should be at the back, shouldn't it? You should have the rules on how to play it first. The terminology they get mixed up in. They call these teleport rooms in one section and then warp rooms in another section. They call these, you know, I can't remember, they call them two different things in things. So it's all a bit confusing. And we did struggle with how to actually play the game. For example, again, we didn't know what these were for. I don't know if these were meant to be in the box, but we didn't come across these at all. And these, we weren't sure what these were for. Yes, they've got the character on it, but then it matches that. But I know what character I am because it's on here. So that was a bit confusing. Let me try to get onto the positives. There are positives here. And I know it's frustrating if you've made a game and you want people to like it. But I have to be honest. The positives are, I do like the tile artwork. I think that's really nicely done. There's a little monster creature here, you know, which I guess I've now cottoned on. What they've done is they've taken that artwork and then they've blown that up and made it bigger. Unfortunately, without going too technical, the dots per inch get blurred, so you're getting a blurred image. That needs to be sorted out. But I was going back to the positives. I do like the artwork on here. That's a nice touch. That one represents wind, so they've got the windows open, the curtains are there. So the artwork on the actual tiles are nice. One of the players said that it's a bit too dark maybe, but then it's a labyrinth, so we kind of thought, okay, fair enough. But as I say, all the other artwork needs to be sorted out. What we did like about it, the overall feeling was, there is a game here, it just needs more development. Or, at the very least, the rules need ironing out and thrashed out. If one of the creators was here and actually taught me the game, I'm sure I would understand it a lot better and we wouldn't have had all this trouble about trying to work out what the rules were. As it was, you need to get somebody who knows how to write rules, because that is crucial. And how many people are going to be put off? Well, if you read the rules and you don't understand them, how long are you going to struggle through it? Are you going to go back to the game if you're put off by the rules? So we did feel there was a game. It's good fun to go and exploring the labyrinth. There's even a trap that one of the cards, reverses. You can reverse the gameplay, but also it flips that tile and you can trap people in that pit. Obviously, then that player has to play a reverse card to then flip it back again and they can get out. Lovely mechanic, great. There's, these cards are fantastic. They're really good. They're good fun. This one blocks any effect. So, there was a lot of take that where they're going, well, I'm going to steal a card off you, and then you'd block it and say, no, I'm not. So it was good fun. They've got special ability cards here as well. So the cards themselves, I liked. I really thought that worked well. It just seems it needs more development, and I really hate to say that because there is a game here. It's just not quite ready. So what I would say is we did enjoy playing it once we'd kind of established what was going on, once we put in our own rules just to make it make a bit more sense, and it was a lot of fun. But it does need some rule modifications. So what I would say is, if they're trying to get this onto Kickstarter, hopefully they've ironed out all of these problems, and I'm up for doing talking to them about it if they want further input. So it's difficult to kind of give an overall review about this because there is a game in there. There is a hidden gem, if you like. Do you like the way I said that? There's a hidden gem of a game in here. Just needs more development, and I really, really hope that they do achieve that. Centershaft Fallen Elements. Yes, well there you go. Hopefully that was clear. There is a game in there, and I really hope when they get around to the Kickstarter they've ironed out the problems that I experienced with it. Maybe we were just being a bit thick, but we're used to playing board games, so we were, these weren't people that were new to board games that I was playing with this. I really wish them luck with this, because there is a game there that it was fun. The take that element was a lot of fun. We did enjoy that. As I say though, the rule book, that was the biggest problem with it. It needs properly explaining, and the graphic design as well. And bung me a few quid, I might be able to sort you out. I can help you out with the graphic design. Anyway, there you go, touting for work. Thank you so much for watching the Fantasy Friday show. We've got lots of other reviews as well, and we also do a weekly news show called the I always forget what it's called, the news show, the Fancy News Show. It really is the most simple title, even for an idiot like me. Anyway, thank you. Remember to keep it unreal, especially if you explore dark labyrinths.